Love hurts. More like watching this movie hurts. Love Hurts stars two recent winners of supporting acting awards at the Oscars, Quan and Ariana DeBose. With two actors receiving recent critical acclaim, you'd expect this to be good. However, if I was one of them, I'd be firing my agent and looking for brighter pastures, because this was not it. Love Hurts is an aggressively mid movie. Quan plays our leading man, Marvin. Marvin is your regular realtor, but he hasn't always been. He used to be an assassin for a mob run by his brother. The mob's name is The Company. The writers couldn't get creative enough to even name the mob, calling it the most basic thing ever. It's the stock photo equivalent of naming a mob. This is just the first example of this being the most vanilla movie ever. Marvin left the mob after supposedly killing a lawyer he is in love with, Rose, played by DeBose. He let her live, and now his brother is after the both of them to tie up loose ends. The overall story works, I guess. Marvin is caught between his criminal past and civilian life, between his brother and his crush. It's nothing revolutionary, but works in theory. The problem is that the movie isn't written well. There isn't any expanding on ideas, exploring the actual relationships. It's all very surface level. Martin doesn't want to fight his brother, and that's it. There's nothing to dig into. It doesn't even scratch the surface of being interesting storytelling. The dialogue feels NPC-ish, unnatural, just trying to get a point across. Everyone is saying their lines and moving on. Neither of our Academy Award winners are any good in this movie. Ariana has been on a historic run of awful movies while not impressing in any of them. Argyle, Craven, and this in the span of a year is crazy work. I'm pretty sure she's a good actor. She was good in West Side Story at least. I refuse to believe these are the only roles she can get. I have to assume she knows these movies are awful and isn't trying. Her performance in this just felt so lazy. Reading lines just so she can move on. It's sad to see. I also don't love Key's performance in this movie. It has a basic level of charm to it, but I fail to connect with it in any way. He has mentioned he turned down this role multiple times before. He didn't feel like he was right for it and didn't want to disappoint his fans post Everything Everywhere All at Once. He just didn't see himself as the action hero this movie is, which I think is crazy. This character is just a way worse, toned down version of Wayman from Everything Everywhere. I love that character, layered in the emotional core of the movie. He has a soft, loving side, while his alpha version is the action hero. And then with this movie, Marvin has his lover side, the hopeless romantic side of him, and also he's an assassin. It's very similar to Wayman, just written way worse. I have no clue why he thought the reason he couldn't do this is because he didn't fit. He shouldn't have wanted to take in the role because the movie stank. What finally made him accept the role was Spielberg. All-time worst friend device was taking this movie. It's just disappointing. The action in this is beyond stale, uninteresting, and barely worth talking about. Think about that. Your action movie has the most plain action ever. Tilted fight scenes with nothing interesting happening. That should be one of the big draws of this, and it just fails to deliver. Maybe the movie's worst offense is that I think it wants to be Pulp Fiction. It features several subplots throughout that feels reminiscent of that movie. There's a love arc between a throwaway side assassin and Marvin's assistant that has absolutely no value. Then the plot that really feels like Pulp Fiction is the one with the two henchmen, Marshawn Lynch's character and the other dude. Their back and forth felt like a pale imitation of Jules and Vincent. Having side conversations that don't relate to the work and having a focus put on them like it did in that movie. Since I have mentioned him, Marshawn Lynch was the best part of this. The dude's funny. I loved him in Bottoms. He doesn't reach that level here, but is fine. Ultimately, this movie's biggest offense is just how middling it is. It's so uninteresting, by the numbers, and unremarkable. I'm angry at just how nothing this movie is. It's truly soulless. I wish so badly I could say it was a fine movie elevated by the actors, but nothing can save it. I wish I could say this was a fun time, a distraction, but I can't. It's mind-numbingly boring. There are hundreds of better ways to spend an hour and a half. This is a short movie that manages to feel so long. There is not a hint of sarcasm in my voice when I say watching paint dry would have been a better use of my time. My own personal thoughts would have far outweighed this soulless movie. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe and let me know. I have avoided being negative on this channel. I don't love hate talking movies, but I figured I'd at least try a video about a movie I had a bad time with. You have to explore and see what works. Thanks for watching.